Hey Dragos, how's it going? Thank you for sending in your video and really looking forward to jumping into this with you. I've got a comment on your coach. He's brilliant. Like little fakes here, little things that he's doing to muck you up and testing you in all over the place, which is really cool. So thanks for sending this in. And anyone that's watching that likes this, please do click in the link in the description, grab your free personalized swing audit, and please do share and subscribe to the channel. I'm loving so far what's happening and all the support's been fantastic. So thank you and please keep going. Okay, so let's have a little look at a few things here. I think the one thing I'm going to talk about when you're setting up in that deep forehand, I quite like your position you've got into, maybe more of a hop than possibly a 1-2 step, which I'm quite a big fan of. But the thing I'm looking at here is possibly the lack of engagement in that elbow. It all looks a little bit timid. I'd love to see that elbow go up a little bit more, have a little bit more of an angle in this arm there. I think that angle's a little bit too shallow. I'd like to maybe think about that angle being a little bit tighter, but also the elbow being obviously a lot higher, and what I talk about being a little bit more hooded over. So the forearm and the bicep, that area starts to look at the ground. So I think that setup could be slightly more aggressive in the corner on your forehand in general and becomes quite a straight arm. And as you can see, there's not much leverage there. Something I notice a lot when I'm coaching players as well is at the contact point, there's quite a bend in that arm still, isn't there? If you think about that. And yeah, that's definitely too close. You probably see some other videos where I've talked about that spacing and that distance, where that arm wants to be locked out about there, and then the racket is going to about that position over there. But your arm is definitely too close, and it limits your shot. Look at how you're having to now pull around your body, and it's all a little bit stuck and a little bit manipulated there, rather than being really free to express yourself along that line. So I think it also does start with the setup, actually, and as well as your feet position, and a little bit too close, and that wrapping follow through. And then see how you're having to finish by pulling towards the front wall. And I can imagine that pulls the ball relatively loose. Yep, you can see how loose that is. Your coach there is about to hit the ball, and you're a little bit stuck in that position. Or he does the fake again, which is great. And even a head fake, wicked. I love it. So again, talking about this deep forehand, that's a slightly better setup. But if you think about it, that's quite late as well, isn't it? Like it's a bit of a late lift. I'd love to see that earlier. I'd love to see what I call the threat and options from these positions there. And also, if you just think about it, again, I know it's off screen, but that angle of that racket is relatively timid. It could be a little bit more hooded over, looking towards the ground, as well as the bicep and the forearm. I think that's a better, stronger position to be in. Let's see if there's a similar thing here. Yeah, again, arm is not as locked out, but there's still definitely a little bit of an angle there, isn't there, that we want to try and avoid as much as possible. And when you hit, let's have a look there. I don't mind that necessarily, but yeah, look at the inconsistency in the follow through. You can just see how you're having to steer it, and it's at that arm's coming across your body, and then you're opening up towards that front wall, and that just puts inconsistency. It doesn't feel like you can swing as freely as possible. So I'd spend some time up and down on this forehand, hitting balls, making sure that arm is locked out a bit more, possibly even engaging the quads, the knees, the hips a bit more to get down, and making sure, because it's interesting, that arm looks quite below that time, that racket looks relatively low on that one, that you want to get down to the level of the ball, creating that space, and then have that freedom to swing in that position. So I'm sure if you look on the channel and maybe even just type in forehand technique, I've got a few videos from maybe a student, from myself. You can possibly get what I'm talking about here. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos, in particular of myself swinging, so I can refer to these and use some more split screens. But I hope that helps. And again, there's a bunch of other things I could talk about. But for now, I think these are the main key elements that I'd like to see you work on. Loading up a little bit better, creating that spacing, not so locked out on the arm, and then having a consistent follow through and keeping your head, your body, your shoulders, your hips a little bit more side on, so you can have that freedom to release down that line, and that ball should be more consistent rather than having to pretty much steer it and try and over control it. So yeah, thanks for sending this video and really do appreciate it. Appreciate the love and support for the channel. As always, guys, click on that link in the description below and do share and subscribe to the channel. It will be fantastic if you do. Thanks, and I'll see you all at the next one. Cheers for now.